All right, good day, hi, and welcome. Sort of waiting for it to stop raining. It seems like it is, but I gotta give it a little. Gonna be waiting around. There's gonna be a lot of hurry up and wait kind of day to get stuff done. But anywho, I was talking in my last video about like phases of learning and stuff like that. Learn. I'll put it as learn how to learn. So I'm gonna do another video on it with sitting in my music room or whatever, but just to kind of like touch up on it, like in 2019 I made a decision to completely change my style. Now I've been going on about my 1995 gig, one of the many shows I would have done back then. That was on the VHS there, the Syndicate first show live, Ottawa 1995 is the title of the video. It's hard to find though. So I don't know if I think because I searched it myself, my videos come up, but like I figured Dave's maybe Dave has it on private or something like that. I don't know. But like I look at my guitar playing back then and look at my guitar playing now. And back then, like just going by our songs and stuff like that, my songwriting was like any of the riffs that sounded kind of like Pantera-ish, that was probably Mike that wrote those riffs. Any riffs that were probably, like sound very George Lynch-ish, that was definitely me. I recognize my guitar writing from the 90s for sure. And the cool part is that when I was, like back then, I was trying to push myself to do things that were difficult at the time, and I look back at it like my legatos and stuff like that. Okay, judging by one gig, you can't really judge it by one gig, but to give you an idea of like the type of playing, you could really hear the pentatonic stuff, especially when we did the Alice in Chains song with the wah pedal and stuff like that. We did I think 2 covers in that night, and the rest was all original songs. But anywhere I used the wah pedal, it sounded very Slash, very, Jimi Hendrix kind of stuff. And then all the other stuff sounded kind of like Randy Rhoads meets George Lynch kind of thing, you know what I mean? Meets Slash. And you could really tell that at the time, I was trying to not just sound like every other guitar player, rock guitar player, right? Which is stuck in the pentatonic scale. And that's what a lot of even Nuno was talking about this too, that like that pentatonic box is a really hard thing to break out of. But it is a box, you know what I mean? And it is a very repetitive box, right? And so when you listen to guys like Slash is pentatonics all the way, right? Zakk Wylde, pentatonics all the way. But they throw these flashy little things in there from time to time. George Lynch, he was a pentatonic guy, but he tried not to be pentatonic. Like he'd always go for dissonant sounds and stuff like that, which like he'd always pull the notes slightly out of key and then back again. So he had these really cool phrasing patterns. Paul Gilbert went the opposite way. He's now a pentatonic guy because he's into the blues and bebop and stuff like that, right? But he, used to be Shredder Supreme and doing anything but, right? So it's kind of cool how people kind of, change it up after a while. Yngwie's never really been a pentatonic guy. You know what I mean? There's nothing about his playing that's pentatonic hardly at all. Nuno, again, all over, even Randy Rhoads, who would do all kinds of crazy stuff, a lot of Phrygian stuff and whatever, but he, Dorian and Phrygian, but he would always kind of throw a bit of a pentatonic in there. King of the pentatonic stuff would be Tony Iommi, because he only had 2 fingers anyway, right? To play with, like he only had he was missing the tips of these 2 fingers, so for guitar solos, this was the, he used the other fingers, but it was mainly these 2, right? So very pentatonic, like that's why all his guitar solos sound so pentatonic. It all sounds great. Pentatonic scales sound great, but they also, after a while, they kind of keep you in a box, right? So in 2019, I'm like, okay, I kind of made a conscious decision not to use the pentatonic scale as much as possible, even because it's just too easy to default there, you know. And I listened to how much I used it, like in my live gig from 1995, and yeah, it was all over the place. But some of my 3-string legatos, 3-note per string legatos, were really, really good. And then some of the other, you know, phrasing I did was kind of cool. And obviously the guitar solos weren't perfect, but they, you know, I was still in the process of working them out for our songs. But I do remember, like, you know, I probably never played any guitar solo the same way twice on our songs, because I was still probably, okay, I did this live last night and it sounded cool, so I'm going to keep that. But maybe if I add this instead, next time I'll try this live. And I did that a bunch of times, you know, because, like, things were happening fast in the sense of, you know, like, we were playing 4 nights, like, we went from a couple of rehearsals to playing 4 nights a week very, very quickly. And then it was just kind of like there was no time to really rehearse, right? And we'd do it once in a while. And then, you know, even though the band wasn't together that long, it was like we crammed a lot in a short amount of time. But had we, you know, spaced ourselves out a little bit, say, okay, guys, let's go work on stuff next week. And then the week after, you know, like, I know this couple that I've yet to jam with them. I'm hoping I'll jam with them, like, in the fall or whatever. They play every 2 weeks. It's a husband and wife. They play live every 2 weeks. They got, like, kind of like a band in a box that they play along with. He brings out his guitars. She plays guitar as well. But they have, like, all the drums and bass tracks down and everything like that. And I've seen some of their stuff, and it's actually pretty good. Like, it's all covers, but they put on a good show, right? And I'm like, well, people like that, what they're really looking for is a drummer. They have a bass player that they work with once in a while, but they're really looking for a drummer, right? Myself, I'm looking more metal band, right? So the thing is that, you know, like, I'll jam with people. It doesn't mean you're going to share a stage with them many times. But, you know, it'd be fun to share a stage with these people because they look like they have a lot of fun with doing it. So we just did covers. Heck, I'd be even the rhythm guitar player, let them do all the leads, whatever. I don't really care, you know, as long as I'm on stage. The only time I care about doing leads really is if it's my own. You know what I mean? My own songs. So the thing is that in 2019, when I decided that I was going to try to become a modern metal player, because all the music I listen to now, like, I still listen to old stuff, whatever, but I'm not one of those guys that you know, like, oh, there's, you know, all the new music sucks. I'm not pulling a Rick Beato here, not taking a jab at him, but I'm going to respond to that video, like, you know, why the music, you know, keeps getting worse and worse or whatever. That, and the thing is it's not. I don't ever remember a time in my life where people, I haven't heard, oh, the music these days is just so horrible in comparison to what it was and stuff like that. Now I'm like, you're kidding me, right? I mean, yes, there is generic stuff out there, and that's, you know, issues or whatever. But in general, no, music is not getting worse. In fact, music is getting so freaking technically advanced, especially in the metal genres. Yes, there's stuff that's been done to death, the Gent and stuff like that. But you try playing a song like Wax Wings, you're not going to bang that out in one night. You know what I mean? Like Periphery, you know, and that's more a rhythm-oriented song. That's some real technical guitar playing when you know, to make it smooth and flow. Now try playing some of the, you know, some of the, like the, I don't know, like some of the Super Shredder stuff. Like some of these guitar players, yes, guitar players like Devin Townsend, for example. He's an awesome lead guitar player, but he never plays leads because he doesn't like he doesn't like it. Like, he really doesn't like shredding. He can shred like crazy, but he doesn't like it. He wants to more focus on the song and whatever. That's why you never really hear him playing guitar solos, even though he's very good at it. I've seen him, like, a couple of video clips of him shredding. I'm like, he's actually quite good at it, but he just wants to be different. So he's more the Gent guy, right? The Gent guy. Then you listen to, like, the Polyphia stuff. Again, hard music to get into because of these odd time signatures. It's technical for the sake of being technical a lot of times. So it's, you know, a lot of times, like, people can't get into that. But when you do get into it, you're like, okay, these players are on a level that didn't exist before. You know what I mean? And once you start looking at it like that, it's like, wow, there's a lot of work to do if you want to change your style. Maybe I'll make another part.